Hi, this is Frank Todaro, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, and you are listening to Studio 2009.
But he isn't going to Pinewild until tomorrow morning. Now, at breakfast, he told Aunt Dory
So he changed his mind. Roger, please.
No. Now, wait a minute. Have you checked to make sure that Benson packed everything he needed? I mean, the royal cravats, the gold toothbrush. That's... No cigars. Benson, you are fired. And you, Miss Bishop, you are next. Do you realize what will happen when the great DL wakes up to find no box of Fidel's finest?
I was just going to get them.
There is nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now inside Studio 2009. I'm, of course, TFG1Mike. And joining me once again, as always, is that good old Detective David Draper. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Pretty well. Today we continue our journey as we put our trench coats on and jump back in time with Columbo. And today, it's just a short fuse, as these are the Columbo files here inside Studio 2009. As always, we're starting at the beginning, going forward, so we're going in the order. Basically, I'm using the Tubi TV order.
I think it's the order of episodes as they released. I don't think there's anything wonky with them.
No,
because they match the DVD order perfectly.
Which is good. Always love when a plan comes together.
Different show.
That's right. Great show, though.
It was the first couple seasons were good.
Yeah. So we get this episode. And this is about Roger, who is played by Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of made a big deal about Leslie Nielsen in the last episode. Like, Roddy McDowell was in both the original Batman TV show and he was the Mad Hatter in an animated series.
Yep.
He was Planet of the Apes. He was Fright Night. He was a nerd culture icon for a while.
He debuted in 1938 for film with the Icy Ice. And like you said...
And he was actually I believe he was a child. He was one of the rare child actors that kind of kept going and didn't completely tank his. I see. Convict 99 is the one according to Wikipedia. According to your beloved Wikipedia.
Well, I'm on IMDb, but Convict 99 was in 30. Yeah, these are all in 1938. So he was
John Halifax.
Yep. He was uncredited in Icy Ice.
Yes, he was.
John Halifax, Scruffy.
He was in Rocky.
Yeah.
The 1948 Rocky.
Yeah. The 1948 Rocky, good old whatever. And the Bookworm, like you said, in Batman.
Yeah, he's Bookworm in Batman. He was Mad Hatter in the animated series.
Yep.
He was Alan Musgrave in Lord Love a Duck. He was Bullwhip Griffin in The Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin.
When I first saw his name, I was like, ooh. And then I mistook him for a different McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell?
Uh-huh.
That would have been... That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever was in the ABC episodes, but yeah, that would have been sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, but Roddy McDowell, I mean... I love him in this. The character is horrible, but
he's a scumbag. Yeah,
the complete, utter, just treats everybody like shit.
The worst part is he treats them kind of. He doesn't treat them like shit, but he manipulates them, and he dumps them, and he uses them.
Yeah,
there are people that treat people worse. He's not like the mother in the Suzanne Plachette episode.
Yeah.
No, he always seems like he's nice and he's supporting you, but he's secretly plotting to screw you over behind your back.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he eventually went into voice acting, and oh man, just the stuff that he had done in his career, just absolutely love it. Very, very awesome. But this episode, oh boy. All right, let's see here.
Well, it starts off with him rigging up the bomb.
Yep.
Okay, so the premise is his father had established a plastics company.
Yeah.
And the parents died, and he got taken in by his aunt who inherited everything. And the aunt is married this guy who kind of wants to sell off the company, and he doesn't want. Roddy McDowell doesn't want to do it, but it's really implied that he's been kind of a piece of crap his whole life. Roddy McDowell.
Yeah.
He's gambling. He screws around. He does all this stuff. Like, it's established really early on that he's got this relationship with one of the secretaries, and she keeps talking about these pictures he's taken, and she's really weirded out by that and worried about it. And it's creepy and icky, and he kind of plays it off as a joke, but at the same time, like, he never agrees to get rid of the pictures, and in fact uses them later. But like, he doesn't want to lose the company, so he rigs up this bomb in a cigar box. I mean, technically, I think the bomb is a cigar in the box.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
When the uncle opens the box, it pulls a little string or a little wire. So he sets up this whole elaborate thing where the uncle's going up to a lodge at the top of a hill, and he's driving up. And he rigs it so that the only way the uncle can have a cigar is from this box, because he has like another box that he usually keeps in the car. So Roddy McDowell's got to get rid of that box, because that becomes like a thing later. They find the initial box gets removed from the car. But he sets up the whole thing, and then, God, you have like all the time in the world after he opens that box.
I know, like, he keeps looking at his watch.
It goes on and on and on and on. Finally, it goes off. Well, he sets it up so that he's on a date with the secretary when the actual incident happens. But then later he comes back to his home, or actually he goes to the chauffeur's house, and that's where Columbo's hanging around. Columbo's like Batman. He just shows up behind Roddy McDowell. And that's also the first time we knock the car, because Roddy McDowell's like, "Oh, that's your piece of junk out there?" But yeah, he was snooping around. The uncle's chauffeur is also like a former cop and like a shady private eye guy, and he's gathering all this information about people, but specifically about Roddy McDowell. So Roddy is like planting evidence in the chauffeur's apartment when he gets caught. He gets spotted by Columbo.
Yep.
I think it was deliberate.
But yeah, the car, and just, oh man, this episode. Was that laughing gas?
What was laughing gas?
When the two of them are laughing, when Columbo goes in there, and then all of a sudden Roddy finds him, and they start laughing like crazy.
When was this? I ended up watching this episode pretty late, so
I could be wrong.
I don't remember. I remember the whole thing is part of Roddy McDowell's character is he's always running around causing trouble, being silly. Like he initially runs around the office like with Silly String from 1973, like, yeah, which I didn't even think was invented until the 80s, but apparently it was. But he's always being disruptive and silly and wacky, which is, I think, one of the reasons the uncle wants to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's disruptive and a pain in the ass.
So the one thing we know about Columbo now in this episode, he doesn't like being on boats because of the previous episode with what's his name?
Eddie Albert.
Yeah, with Eddie Albert's character. And now we realize he doesn't do heights or.
Well, he didn't like being in the plane.
Well, yeah, I mean, but so again, the heights thing with the plane, but I really noticed it here more than the plane, because here
they're on a gondola going up to the
tram. Yeah, the tram conductor is telling him, "Here, look over the edge here." Yeah. And you look, no, thank you. Nope.
Because the place where the uncle was going to was a lodge on the top of a hill, but there's a quicker way, which is the tram. So he's on the tram. There's actually a line in a later episode where Columbo says, "I don't even like being this tall."
Did they?
Which is funny because for those of you who don't know, Peter Falk's short.
Yeah, he's very, very short. Yep, like 5'2", 5'3", something like that. Did they ever get to the top of the mountain though?
You never see it, but I mean, that's
what that was my thing when they were. I'm like, wait, what?
You never just see the lodge.
Like, no, you don't at all. The cigars, all comes back to the cigars.
Well, I mentioned in the previous episode there was a little bit of kerfuffle about the cigar and that Columbo probably smokes really bad cigars.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, in this one, because they're all rich executive guys, they've all got like really fancy. I think it even says that they are Cuban.
Well, they mentioned they just came in from Fidel this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, there's also like I think Roddy said something like, "Don't really talk about it because they're illegal."
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is, I think to this day, Cuban cigars are illegal. Because they went communist and we don't like that. Mm-hmm. Robble. So for the longest time, and Cubans are supposed to have the best cigars. Yeah. So for the longest time, like Cuban cigars were always like the sign of elitism because you're not legally supposed to have them. Like Romulan Ale on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. And yes, they are still illegal to this day.
Man, Castro's been dead for a decade? Jeez. Okay. Hold a grudge. America. Well, I think they have to because whoever normalizes relations with Cuba basically is going to write off Florida for the next couple of election cycles. There's a very large Cuban expat population in Florida that are very stringently anti. They were anti-Castro, but he's dead, so I don't know who they're anti now. But
yeah, you already mentioned that Roger took pictures of the secretary.
Oh, he's a classy guy.
I love that he forgot the negative, and the reason why I love that is because nowadays nobody thinks unless you're a photographer. Unless
you might have to explain to our audience, number one, what a negative is. Number two, what a camera is out. Like, we're not talking about his phone.
No.
There was back in the day, there was a device that took pictures that didn't make calls or surf the internet, and it was called a camera. And you loaded it with film, and you took it to a little room, which was dark, and they called it a dark room, but it always had a red light for some reason. And you develop the film into negatives, and then you put the negatives in a thing, and it made a picture. And it was actually a surprisingly laborious process.
Yes, it really was.
I mean, people still do use cameras and still do use film, but I think most people I use my phone. I haven't used a camera in decades.
Yeah, I use my phone now, but if I had a camera, I know a couple of people who are serious photographers that I know one guy, I know of him, and I know like what he does with cameras because he's a huge photography guy, David Amell. He talks about cameras and lenses and things and everything, and he does these like photo panoramic things. Oh man, he takes some amazing pictures. I eventually want to buy some of the guy's stuff at some point. And he's a young kid. He's maybe late 20s, early 30s. And but yeah, I mean, generally you're hearing people say, "Oh, I took it with my Google Pixel 7 Pro," or "I took it with my iPhone 27R," or whatever. But yeah, people don't normally.
Yeah, cameras are kind of I mean, they still exist, but they're more of it's like records, like vinyl records. Mm-hmm. People still use them, but they're generally the people who do are more of I don't want to say hobbyist per se, but like it's less in common use. Like you're either a professional photojournalist or you're a fan. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's
an enthusiast.
Yeah, an enthusiast is word. So the light, the dark room, the red light. I was
just being silly, yeah.
Huh?
I was being silly. Yes, I know that that kind of light.
Okay.
Doesn't screw up the neck. Light will screw up the film.
Yeah.
That's how film works.
Yes, that's how
light
film works. Yeah.
So you got to process it in the dark, but there's like a kind of red light that doesn't affect it.
Yes, and since Dave insulted all of our audience that may not know about a camera, I'm going to say this anyway. A red or amber colored light can be safely used without exposing the paper. So, yeah. Absolutely. Just And this episode was so good. Again, I'm just enjoying these because I haven't seen them. Like, I don't remember. I remember the process of watching them with my grandmother in the 80s, watching the reruns or the re-airings or whatever. But I don't remember watching them and actually paying attention to everything. And this was a good one.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Well, I think part of it is we had a top-notch, and not to knock some of the other guest stars, but I mean, Roddy McDowell, I think he's probably one of the upper guest stars that they had.
Yep.
I made a big deal out of him when we started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been in everything.
Yeah. And he, it's one of those things. Like it's like he's such a sleazy character, but at the same time, like it's his family business, and he doesn't want to sell it, and you kind of feel that, like the uncle is just about money. He's just, I'm just gonna, just sell this off and get new, and I don't care anymore. And it's like for Roddy McDowell, it's his family legacy. Which I don't think in a weird way, I think if the uncle wasn't selling it, he wouldn't care about it. Because he takes it for granted that he's also being manipulated into it by being blackmailed by the chauffeur, having all the stuff exposed to his aunt, who raised him and kind of spoiled him a little bit. It's usually not the there's always a little, not always, but there's usually a little element of something with Columbo killers that it's not just, I don't like you, bang. It's there's a little something that humanizes a lot of them.
Yeah. Speaking of Columbo, when they're when she says, I don't want any more police. You all leave. Get out, get out, get out. I don't want to do anything with you anymore. Done, 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 done. Okay, ma'am, we'll leave. All of the police leave. And I don't know what, I was wide awake, paying attention. I'm like, who's that guy in the trench coat? And then I realized once he turned around, I'm like, oh, he hung back. Yeah. Because he goes to leave. He goes out the door. He goes out to the door, but he doesn't open the door and leave himself. He steps back in and he hangs back and listens to the conversation. I love that.
But did you catch that, like, Roddy McDowell was kind of doing that for him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he has this big smile on his face when the conversation's over and Columbo leaves.
Yeah, because he heard the door. He heard the door slam or close or whatever. That was a fun jaunt up the mountain. The second one was Roddy McDowell. At the end? Yes, he's such a good actor.
And again, man, how long? Okay, so here's the deal. Columbo is convinced that something blew up the car, which is what happened. We can't quite prove it because the thing inconveniently blew up.
Right.
But at the end, he's like, "Oh, we found something. We're gonna go." The aunt is at the lodge at the top of the mountain.
Yep.
And meanwhile, Roddy has kind of been setting up William Wyndon, who was also in the very first episode of Columbo as a different character.
Yep.
And William Wyndon is playing like the
chauffeur.
No, he's not the chauffeur. He's like the second in charge of.
The company guy.
He's like the vice president of the company, and he's like he's been Roddy McDowell's like friend and ally, and Roddy's been setting him up to be the bad guy.
Fall guy,
the fall guy. So the aunt ends up firing the secretary who Roddy's having the affair with, and William Wyndon. So William Wyndon, Columbo, and Roddy McDowell get on the gondola to go up to the lodge. Because Columbo's like, oh, we found something, and he finally like opens it up while they're in the gondola, and it's a cigar box. Because the whole thing is like the uncle had like a stack of cigar boxes. William Wyndon had 4, but one was missing because that's the one that Roddy McDowell stole to use to make the bomb. So it's a box just like the cigar boxes that have been floating around all over the place. And it's got a little bit of burns, a little bit of like grass stain on it. It's like, so hey, they found the box. And then Columbo does this great thing where he's like, I have to apologize to you, sir. I really thought that you stole one of his cigar boxes and rigged it up to be a bomb, and here it is, And of course, Roddy McDowell's like, oh my God, no, get away from that. No, oh crap, leave it. And Columbo's like smacking the box, and like flipping it around, doing all this stuff with it, and like Roddy is like shooting.
He's practically he's practically juggling the box. He's not.
He hits that thing like 3 times.
Oh yeah.
And like Roddy opens the door to the gondola and looks down, and it's like 1,000 feet below, and it's like,
I'm going to jump. I need to.
He thinks about it.
Yeah, he thinks about it. Yep.
And finally, Columbo opens the box, and again, how long a timer was this goddamn thing on? Because Roddy just like starts. He's trying to remain calm, and Columbo's yammering, and he's doing it deliberately to like make Roddy freak out. And finally, Roddy just like completely panics and freaks out and is like, "Shut up!" And he grabs the box, and the cigars go falling all over the floor, and basically like kind of again, this is one of those. I don't think Roddy ever admits to anything, and the fact that he freaked out about the box, I mean, you're sort of like, okay, that proves that you thought there was a bomb in the box, but I don't know that it proved anything.
Yeah, I don't know that it proved anything either. Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem with this one is that because it's a bomb and because the bomb literally went everywhere, like, yeah, you found the cigar box, you found various pieces of it, but you didn't find, like, you found like you mentioned, a cigar box amongst all other you didn't find the one, like, what if you made a second one? You know what I mean? What if there's somebody else that
they had established that they kept track of the boxes pretty well.
Right.
So they knew that there was one box in the car. Like, right. They established that pretty solidly, that they knew there was one of those boxes. Well, and technically there was supposed to be 2, because there was a smaller case in the glove compartment, which, as I said, Roddy made sure got removed because he only wanted the box that he rigged.
Yep. Yeah. So, and again, it's fiction, obviously. We're just meant to believe that, oh, well, he's gonna... And I kind of like that now with this show, that we just see the detective, the police stuff. We don't see the, like, okay, you're going to go away from murder for the next 1,000 years or whatever it is. We don't get to see because there's so many court shows.
Well, I mean, again, to another David's old comment, I remember when Law and Order first started.
So do I.
And it was kind of revolutionary, because it did what I keep saying is you had the cop part, but then you had the follow-up, the law part, the order part. So that was new, because it was usually cop shows or lawyer shows. The lawyer shows would usually have, like, Perry Mason would have, like, 10, 15 minutes setting up. But really, like, a thing like Perry Mason was really just a cop show without the cops. I mean, Perry Mason solves the crime and does the legwork. It's just like at the end, it's revealed in court as opposed to like revealed in a gondola, and then not always in court.
Yep. Roddy, actually, he passed away 26 years ago. He was 70 when he died in 1998. He died October 3rd, 1998.
Well,
Thanks for bringing the show down.
Well, thanks for hitting a high note there, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I honestly thought he was still alive. I thought he was maybe retired, but I thought he was.
I hadn't heard from him in 30 years, but people fade.
The last thing he did, according to IMDb, was The Return of Captain Sinbad, which was a video, and he played the narrator, the voice of the narrator in that. The last thing he did on TV was Godzilla the series. He played Dr. Hugo Trevor as a voice in one episode for 1999.
Nice.
That was the animated series, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's never been a live-action Godzilla TV show, I don't believe.
Not yet, anyway.
Well, not yet. Well, someone's going to go, what about Monarch? And I'm like, yeah, Monarch's a thing. Look. I don't know if I count streaming yet as TV shows. 'Cause
I do.
It's a weird new thing, and I'm old.
It is a weird new thing, and it's not just because we're old. But I still do, because you watch it on your TV.
I watch movies on my TV. It's a very, but also streaming series are very British in concept, where there's like a limited amount of episodes, and it usually finishes after a season, particularly if you're on Netflix.
Netflix is.
I think what you were meaning to say is it was based off it was a cartoon based off of the American Godzilla, the Broadway Godzilla, which apparently that cartoon is pretty. I hear it's good.
Yeah.
Particularly given the source material.
Yep. But yeah, so Roddy McDowell for this one. Other cast members in this, you mentioned William Wyndham, Ida Lupino, and Francis. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that the uncle guy was one of those guys that was in a lot of stuff back in the day. Yeah. James Gregory. Yeah, he was never like a huge star that I know of, but like he's familiar face and familiar voice because he's like, oh god, I can't remember that actor, but he was the gruff old guy of his time. Oh yeah. The top 4 here on IMDb are he's known for. The 1962 Manchurian Candidate, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Really? Hey, a double Planet of the Apes connection. Yep. He was Ursus in 1970's Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He was MacDonald in Murderer's Row, and then he was Morgan Hastings in The Sons of Katie Elder, whatever that is. That's a Western with John Wayne, I believe. Mm-hmm. The last thing he did was one episode of Mr. Belvedere in 1986, according to IMDb. He was in Barney Miller. He was in Quincy M.E. I was trying to see if he has a face. Like I'm looking at one of his IMDb photos, or the photo that IMDb has of him, and I'm like, where have I seen that guy? He's got a very craggy, very kind of distinctive face. Yeah, he was kind of the Fred Thompson of his time. Yeah. Which is, at this point, is 2024. That's probably a dated reference, but... Well, yeah. I think all this stuff is dated references. I know. Like, I hate that, he was a Fred Thompson of his time. Who? The guy from Die Hard 2 and a bunch of other movies? Oh! Republicans? See, no. See, okay, so when people mention Fred Thompson, I don't recognize it at, isn't his middle name Dalton? Apparently, yes. I forget. I have to now. I gotta look it up. But I love that guy. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say this now, and I know I'm wrong. I don't care. Die Hard 2 is a better Christmas movie than Die Hard. Neither of them are Christmas movies. Well, yeah, neither of them are Christmas movies. That's true, but you know how I know. Well, I know that's been a thing this year. Is it's Die Hard's a thing every year. It's a thing every year. Yeah, but it seems like it's more this year. But I can prove that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. You know how I can prove it? How's that? I will watch it of my own free will. Boom, not a Christmas movie. Yep. For those who don't know, the quote joke end quote is David does not like Christmas. Ah, yes. And I was correct. Fred Dalton Thompson is how he was credited on Law and Order. Oh, because he was on Law and Order forever. That's how outside of Die Hard 2, that's how I know him, is when he was Adam something or other. He wasn't Adam Schiff. He took over for Adam Schiff. Oh, that's what it is. Arthur Branch. D.A. Arthur Branch. That's what it is. I knew his name began with an A. But yeah. He took over for him 2002 to 2007 on the main show, 116 episodes. Jesus God. 2003 to 2006 on Special Victims Unit for 11 episodes. And then he showed up in the very short-lived, unfortunate Law and Order Trial by Jury for 13 episodes. He showed up for one episode each. Conviction's a separate show. Showed up for one episode of Criminal Intent. I love Law and Order Criminal Intent. Love that show. That was the one that originally had Vincent D'Onofrio. Yes, I was gonna say Kingpin. Yep. I watched it back when he was on it, and then he was one of those actors that he's really good, but he's like Mandy Patinkin. He's really amazing to watch, but he's apparently a pain in the ass to work with, and he's always leaving the show. And I've never heard that, and the only time he left. No. I've never heard that about him. I've always thought he was a upstanding actor person. Okay, but I'm saying, like,
I hear what you're saying. It's just the way you phrased it was cute. No,
the only time he left
back in the day, like again, this is all back in like the Clinton administration.
2001 to 2011 is when Criminal Intent ran.
That's
that's Bush and
Bush
and all that. So the thing with D'Onofrio and Criminal Intent, I forget what happened in season 9, like from season 8 to season 9 to season 10. But
Chris Noth.
No, Chris Noth was already there. Oh, no. He came in. No, season 9 is when Mr. Goldblum joined as Zach Nichols.
Oh God, that's right. That was after my time.
Yeah, so I'm not even I don't even have to. I'm on the Wikipedia article for Law and Order Criminal Intent.
Sure, yeah. I'm not.
But I'm not even looking at it because I know it. Like, I love Criminal Intent. We're probably doing our podcast on Criminal Intent at some point because I love that show. But anyway, I don't know what happened between Vincent D'Onofrio and Mr. Dick Wolf and all of that with NBC from season 8. The end of season 8 into the beginning of season 10, because he came back in season 10 to finish the show off. But season 9 is all about Zach Nichols, who is Jeff Goldblum's character, along with a bunch of other people. Oh, God. Man, I'm going to spend all afternoon planning a Law and Order Criminal Intent podcast. God damn it. Back to the original detective we're talking about, Mr. Columbo. Any other final things on Short Fuse, sir?
No, this was a fun one. It was fun to watch him, Roddy McDowell, break down at the end. Like, there's this weird moment where he like cups Columbo's face in his hands, and I'm like, "Oh, you touched a cop, you're in trouble now."
That's what I was talking about last time. That's the scene where he starts smacking him around. That's what
he doesn't smack him. He just puts his hand. He hit him. He holds his face in his hands.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I thought it was some other earlier scene.
No. It's that scene because he's going crazy.
Well,
and he can't.
He's caught.
Yep.
He thought he was going to be blown to pieces, and suddenly he's alive, but he's going to jail for the rest of his life. I imagine you'd feel a lot of emotions in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Did we already send it to a break? I don't even remember. I'm having so much fun. Okay, good.
Oh, right, yeah. Gee, I should have thought of that.
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Kid?
Yes?
Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film, Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG1Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth and Beyond the Night only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kid?
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or geekcastradio.com.
Hey Jared, I have this idea for a new show for the network.
What is it?
You know how I liked the 1990s comic book series, The New Warriors?
Yep.
And you know how at the Long Box Crusade we're trying to get the YouTube channel going?
Yes, also correct.
Well, thanks. So, how about you and me do a live stream show about the New Warriors? You've never read the books before, and I have them, and so that's a great setup. We could give it a catchy name like come out to play. Don't you think that's the greatest idea?
Sure, Delvin. That's a great idea. Just one question.
Yeah?
Why do you have me dangling off this ledge, holding me by only one arm?
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll get it soon. I hope. Come Out to Play, a New Warriors podcast, comes to you live on YouTube every second Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Longbox Crusade channel. If you can't watch it there, we replay them on the Longbox Crusade Network podcast feed, available anywhere podcasts can be found. We invite you to come along for the ride, or in other words, New Warriors, come out to play.
Are Two Mikes, Too Furious, a podcast where we watch every episode of Transformers Animated and discuss from two different points of view. I'm Mike Seibert, and I've never watched Transformers Animated before, and guiding me on this journey is author Michael Andrews.
Hello! Yes, longtime Transformers Animated fan, serial rewatcher. I've seen it plenty of times.
So if you've never watched Transformers Animated but always wanted a reason to, now's your chance. Likewise, if you've binged the series several times, it's a great reason to watch through again with us. Because regardless if you're a seasoned vet or a newbie, there's something for every fan, because I ask questions. Why is Prowl such a dick?
So that he can be not a dick later, I think is the answer.
Subscribe to Two Mikes, Too Furious on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode.
Are we coming off furious enough? I feel like we're not living up to the... Are we supposed to be like more angry, more fired up? We're really in a good mood. We really enjoy talking to each other.
Hey guys, this is Mason. I just wanted to hop in here and tell you about my YouTube channel, Wasatch Pop. Essentially, it's dedicated to everything pop culture and collectibles, but I like to really focus on Funko Pops and obviously the other things that I enjoy and collect. But I like to go out on hunts to different stores to see if I can track down the things that I am looking for, and I also like to do a little bit of twist where I go to like thrift stores, garage sales, try to find things, to fund my collection in order to not spend a ton of money. I also go to different events, stores, conventions, and if that's something that interests you, definitely be sure to subscribe, and hope to see you over on the channel.
Hello, all sentient beings. Want the latest on everything going on in the Transformers multiverse? Check out the Transmissions Podcast Network. We've got weekly podcasts covering everything from Alpha Trion to Omega Supreme, from old school G1 all the way up to Cyberverse and beyond. And you don't want to miss Empire of Rust, the world's first and only Transformers live play role-playing game podcast. If you love Transformers, there's something for everyone at transmissionspodcast.com.
Discover a world of vintage and modern toys that's more than meets the eye with the Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hosted by toy writers and photographers Toybox Soapbox, 6.0 and TF Square 1, this informal and chilled out series of discussions cover everything from vintage Transformers to Mask, Diaclone, Microman and more, be it nostalgic or current.
Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual robot enthusiast, all are welcome.
Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hi, welcome to Up Nerd. What is Up Nerd? Up Nerd is a podcasting network of shows hosted by me, The Uneven Flow. People have told me I like to talk at them about a pretty wide range of topics, comics, games, movies, books, whatever, and now I'll be able to talk at you. Along with the weekly show will be two bi-weekly shows. First we have Find You Pick, a show where one host picks a movie, then both hosts have to watch it. Then the next episode, the other host picks the movie. Each show will have a breakdown of why it is that movie was picked by that host, after which will be a discussion about what it is we just watched. Lastly, we have the show Top 3, Bottom 3. Similarly to Find You Pick, one host picks a television series, and the next week, the pick alternates to the other host. Here, the episodes of the show are chosen by the top 3 episodes and the bottom 3 episodes, as rated on imdb.com. Yes, this is probably the worst way to watch and review a television show, and yes, that's the idea. On our shows, I'll detail out how you can suggest things for us to watch. You can reach out and talk with the hosts and maybe even appear on an episode. I hope you'll join me for this exciting new podcast adventure. I swear we're going to make it more than 8 episodes.
But I say we have a whole new ball game.
All right, folks, we are back here inside Studio 2009. This is episode 118. It is December 18th, 2024. We are 18 days into the 31 Days, 31 Podcasts. Dave, anything you want to say before I run through the closing, sir?
No, this was a fun one. I'd said that the last one was kind of a break, like broke the tradition. It's fun to get back to the mold.
Yep.
The classic, one of those everything worked perfectly, but like Columbo still found the little detail. Well, actually, Columbo really didn't find the little details this time. It was more that he just used literal trickery and lying and manipulation, which is, again, as watching this in 2024 is a little kind of oogie.
Columbo did it, or
the police did it.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is you love Columbo as a character so much that you never really think, okay, he kind of manipulated and lied, and there is a little entrapment going on.
Well, now
there's a whiff of it.
Yeah, there's a whiff. There's a very, very small whiff. Here's the thing. Again, because this is 2024 and we're looking at something in 1971, I will always say. So, wait, what?
This is 73. The first one was 71. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
The NBC series started in 73. This might even be 70. This might even be 74. Oh, year might have passed, sir.
No, this is no. So, Lady in Waiting from yesterday, December 15th, 1971. This was January 19th, 1972.
What?
So it says. So Wikipedia says, because A Blueprint for Murder will come out 8 years before I was born, February 9th, 1972. So that's our next episode. But the hell was I going to say?
I don't know. I'm literally shocked.
So this is 2024. And I have been watching true crime stuff for the longest time, and one of the true crime things I've seen over the years once it debuted is a show called Homicide Hunter with Lieutenant Joe Kenda. And there's a couple of times on that where he was a police officer with the city of Colorado Springs, Colorado. And there were a few times where he said, yes, I'm a policeman. Yes, this is a criminal. And yes, I lied to him, but there's no law against me lying to him. Is there a law against me trying to trick him and entrap him? Yes, but telling him, the criminal, as him, the straight up lie, like, yes, my finger is blue when it actually isn't. Like, you can, there's a line. There's a very, very thin line. But yeah, I agree.
I thought you were going to say, when you said Homicide, I got real excited because I thought you were going to talk about Homicide: Life on the Street, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And there's an episode where there's like a documentary guy who's in the precinct, and Andre Braugher gives this great speech about how in the box I'm a salesman and I am not your friend and I'm selling you literally down the river. Like, I'm trying to convince you to say something that you never should say. And just lays out what the police interrogation techniques are and how they're not your friends. There is no good cop. We're just here to screw you. And like, he doesn't even realize he realizes it's being filmed, but he didn't realize it was going to be made into a movie. And they're like, give us that tape back now.
Yep.
Because he just lays out, we are here to take you down any means possible. And we can lie to your face and it doesn't matter.
Yep. Absolutely.
Such a good show.
Yeah. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, scores. You want to give it a 4?
Shit.
I didn't say anything about a number.
Okay.
I said nothing about numbers. 4?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. 4 all around. Yep. Because this was real. Like, I had fun with Lady in Waiting, but I had more fun with this.
Well, again, I think it's like no knock on the woman who was in Lady in Waiting, but it is Roddy McDowell, who is a beloved genre guy for a reason. I think a lot of it depends on the guest star and their interaction with, like in Lady in Waiting, he interacts more with Leslie Nielsen than he does with the woman. And this one, he interacts directly with Roddy McDowell. Like, I think that's so much of what the show is, really, because you already know who done it. Yeah. But it's the interaction between him and the guest star that's the crux of the thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've already said this in previous episodes. These aren't really whodunits, but they're howdunits.
Yeah, they're howduns.
Yeah. But yeah, 4 all around. Absolutely loved it. I don't know if we're ever going to give any of these episodes a really bad grade, folks, because I'm just really enjoying watching this old TV show.
Yeah, I mean, remembering back, again, I'm going back to like the early to mid 90s watching them on A&E. I don't remember one being like the one with Eddie Albert and Suzanne Plachette was not there are a couple that aren't favorites.
Yes.
But there's no like real stinker episode like, ick, season 2, Next Generation kind of blah.
Yeah.
Amazing Okana, blah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us here inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can check out the brand new Fourth Wall store where you can purchase all kinds of GCRN merch. That is shop.geekcastradio.com.
Buy stuff.
Yes, buy our stuff.
Consume.
Yes, consume. Johnny 5 is alive? Send any email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Just put in the subject line the show and the episode number and what you want to talk about in the email, obviously, and we will
how much you spent at the shop, so we know how to take seriously, whether or not to take you seriously.
Wow. He said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I saying the quiet part out loud? It's a joke.
I know it's a joke. Uh-huh. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts. Leave us reviews there. Spotify, I think, and other podcasting clients you choose to use. Follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio for the network, at It's Studio 2009 for the show. I am at TFG1Mike. Dave does not do social media.
No.
Just waiting for the response.
No.
Become a fan on Facebook at facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also check out Studio 2009 podcast over there as well. Join us next time when we will be talking about Season 1, Episode 9, Blueprint for Murder. We will also be doing, do I have room for the, I think I'm planning, folks. I'm in major planning mode as I'm sitting here recording this podcast. After that episode, before we start Season 2, I think we are going to do a Season 1 recap episode, which is just overall general everything. So I think that's happening. I don't know. I got to work on that.
Like a recap.
Yeah, that's what I said. Recap.
I know.
So for now, I am TFG1Mike with
David Draper.
You'll hear us back in the studio soon. Oh yeah, and Unleash the Geek in you.
I got to come up with something concrete.
So when I thought it was Malcolm, McDowell and not Roddy, my first thought was, and this is so silly, I don't know if you have ever seen this. I'll have to send it to you later. Malcolm, as he was an older gentleman by the time this had happened, he and James Earl Jones, may the Vader rest in peace, they were in a Sprint commercial together.
I saw that. I vaguely remember that.
Okay, you vaguely remember that. So basically, this is, and I remember it from heart, because again, Steve Megatron, my best friend, named Steve. Steve just can't catch a break on a lot of Steve. And it's like, Sprint inspires or helps protect Steve's Facebook posts, blah, 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 blah. And Malcolm's like, I've got tickets to the show. If you want them, message me. And James goes, I'll take them. I said to message me, not have it. And it's this whole back and forth. Like, oh my God, these are two amazing, legendary actors going back and forth in a fake ad for Sprint mobile phones or text messaging. And it is so good. So I was going to throw that in here, but because I thought it was Malcolm, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this is Malcolm. It's Roddy McDowell. Like, oops,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Sprint owner Steve's Facebook post on our new network.
I have tickets to the show. Anybody wants them? Message me.
I'll take them.
I said to message me, not post it in the comments. I disregard your request.
Come on, man.
No, follow private message procedures. You went rogue, now look at us. Having it out in the comment section.
Dude, you've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.
Headed me all the way, weren't you? Well, I kind of had a hunch. You see, you kept trying to finesse me into digging up that pile. And I had to ask myself why. I mean, you're not a dumb man, Mr. Markham. You wouldn't lead me right to the body.
Why'd you dig it up?
Well, I had to play along, didn't I? You see, I figured you had the body somewhere. But what you really wanted was a foolproof hiding place. Now, what's better than a place that's already been searched? And at considerable cost and my embarrassment. Officer?
No, don't bother. He will admit. It's a clever idea.
Oh, yeah, it was perfect. Who would look in the same place twice?
Should have left it where it was.
Mr. Markham. Curious about that. Where was it?
It's in the equipment shed of his stable.
Oh, you never can be sure about those things. You know, bodies have a funny way of surfacing. No, this was brilliant. Eventually, you would have had a whole building over the grave.
Yes, brilliant.
It was just that music thing that bothered him. Carnegie Hall in Nashville. They don't mix.
I'm going to double check that the file was saved because sometimes you can never trust technology.
No one's allowed in there.
No one's allowed. I see 30 people down there.
No one's allowed in there without an invitation. You have an invitation?
No, I don't have an invitation.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You have no invitation, so out.
Actually, I'm a lieutenant in the police. My name is Columbo.
Lieutenant?
Yeah. You know, when I came here, I'm just coming here to look for somebody.
Who are you looking for, Lieutenant?
Mrs. Williamson.
Well, I'll tell you, Lieutenant. A lot of people here. Why don't you wander around? Maybe you'll bump into her.
I see. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Right.
Where is the thing? You get what?
Your heinous joke. Actually, halfway decent wordplay on your part.
Yep. I sure try my best.
Thank you very much.